Hello, my most amazing artists, and welcome back to art class. This week, we are going to be making a picture of a scarecrow, but not just any plain old picture of a scarecrow. We are going to be making a pop-up scarecrow. You can see when I hold my scarecrow to the side, he's in his cornfield, but he's popping up 3D, and I'm going to show you how you can make a pop-up picture. Now, we're making pop-up scarecrows, but once I show you how to make this, you could literally make a pop-up picture of anything. All right, but let's figure out how to make our pop-up scarecrows for this week's assignment. To make our pop-up scarecrow, we are going to need 2 pieces of paper. Now, one of them is going to be for your scarecrow's background, where we're going to make the cornfield, because that's where scarecrows are, right? They're usually on a post in the middle of a cornfield, keeping the corn safe and making sure no birds or crows come to eat them, hence their name, scarecrows. So we're going to make 1 piece of paper into our background, and then you're going to need a smaller piece of paper for your scarecrow. So what I'm going to recommend for your background is that you take another piece of paper that's the same size as your background, and I would fold it in half, just like this. And after you fold it in half, and you have this nice invisible line going down the middle, you can either, if you have an adult with you that's really good at it, you can either bend it both ways and very carefully rip it in half, or you can take a pair of scissors and cut along this new invisible line that you've made. And then you can use this half-size piece of paper to create your scarecrow. Now, even that's a little bit big, so you're actually gonna hold it sideways. So I would take this little half piece of paper and cut just like a smaller rectangle, about that big. So I cut my paper in half, and then I cut off like maybe like 1/3 of it. So you don't want the paper to be too big. You kind of want your scarecrow to fit very nicely in the paper right there. And you're even going to cut off a little bit of this too, because you can tell with my scarecrow, I drew him and then I kind of cut around the outside of him. All right, so we are going to make our background first. Now, scarecrows are in cornfields, so it's going to be a whole lot of cornfield. Now, when we make our scarecrow pop up, it is going to be about halfway up the paper. So you might even want to fold this piece of paper in half when you're drawing so that you can kind of see where the halfway point is on your paper. I did that with mine because you want to make sure you don't have too much corn up here. You want a decent amount of sky, but you do want the corn to be underneath your scarecrow. So I'm just going to start right around here-ish. I'm going to draw myself a bunch of lines. Now, it doesn't matter where your scarecrow is going to be because this is all in the background. And I am just going to start making a whole bunch of lines to create my cornfield. Now, I just have a regular plain old green crayon. If you also have a yellow-green crayon, you would have kind of like a light green and a dark green, and that'll help you fill in your space a little bit more. You can see I had that here, and I might actually go grab mine. And you're also going to need a yellow for your corn because we are a little closer to our cornfield. It's not really so much in the background, so we can see some of the corn on our corn stalks. So we're going to do that first. And to make the corn on the corn stalks, it's just little shapes like this. Just coming off the edge. Some of them might overlap, some of them you won't see as well. So you're going to go in and add a whole bunch of corn stalks to your project. So you can see here that I filled in most of my corn. I also took yellow, scribbled a little bit of yellow into those spaces there, and added a little bit of green in the extra space at the bottom. Now to fill in the rest of my cornfield, if all you have is green, you can do it with green, but I did go and grab a yellow-green crayon, so I'm going to take my yellow-green crayon, and I am going to just do some swirly lines. I'm not worried about coloring this in perfectly because there are so many corn stalks in a cornfield that it would take us forever if we were to draw every single one. So you can kind of create the illusion of a nice full cornfield by using different types of lines, in this case kind of swirly lines, to fill in that background. You could even do a combination of both crayons if you really want. but I want my corn stalks to kind of stick out, so I'm going to use this yellow-green. And the cool thing about this yellow-green is since you've already used yellow and green, even if you scribble over the top of your corn a little bit, it's totally fine. You don't have to be nice and neat and stay in between your corn stalks. And that also makes this go pretty quickly. As you can see, I am almost done. Just making lots and lots and lots of round little swirls up toward the top of my cornfield, filling it in pretty nicely. You don't want to leave a lot of white space, but you kind of want to fill it in like so. So if we compare my two cornfields, you can see how similar they are. Now, if you want to add a sunshine, you can, or you don't have to. You can use a blue or a blue-green if you want a lighter blue. And I am going to use that to color in my blue sky. And there is the background for my scarecrow. I'm going to draw my scarecrow first, and then I'm going to show you how to turn your scarecrow into a pop-up with your background. Now, drawing my scarecrow is pretty easy. He's going to have a cute little floppy hat on. He has his face, and he's wearing a cool little flannel shirt with some jeans, and you just have to draw some hay sticking out. I'm going to draw mine with a Sharpie so you guys can see what I'm doing, but just kind of pay attention. I'm actually going to start with the hat and work my way down. So scarecrows kind of wear like floppy little straw hats, so I might draw a little funky hat shape, and then you could draw a line that goes around it to make it look like the brim of a hat. For his face, all you have to draw is just a big letter U. And remember, if I'm going too fast for you, you can always pause as we go, and you can also rewind the video to watch. I'm not going to worry about his face just yet. I'm going to get the rest of his body drawn. I'm just going to check and see how I drew this guy. Now, he has some hay sticking out from around his neck before I draw the rest of his shirt. So I'm going to use zigzag lines along the bottom. Kind of looks like Kermit the Frog, to kind of make that hay sticking out of his shirt. Then I'm going to give him arms and a body. Here's his legs. All right, lots of basic shapes, lots of just rectangles and things, and it doesn't have to be perfect because, you know, scarecrows, the great thing about scarecrows is they're not really put together all that well. They're literally just shirts and jeans and stuff stuffed with hay. So they're very loose and floppy anyway, so his legs don't have to look perfect. And then I'm going to do some more zigzag lines at the bottom of his pants and in the opening of his shirt. Now I'm also going to add his face. And I'm going to keep his face very simple too because he is very tiny. So I'll just give him two eyes. I'm going to give him, I like to give my scarecrows triangle noses. And then you can give him a little scarecrow smile that's held together with some stitches. And then you can go ahead and color your scarecrow in. I'm going to give my scarecrow some blue jeans and a cool flannel shirt. Now the way that you can make a flannel shirt is literally just by pick your colors. Make some lines that are going horizontal that go across. Maybe I might do orange, and then I'll do some lines that are going up and down. And I'm also going to add a little bit of my yellow-green in here. I'm going to go across with that. So you could just do crisscrosses of different colors. And there you go, instant flannel. I'm going to make sure I fill in all the hay with yellow. Lots and lots of hay. Gonna give him some funky blue jeans because, you know, he's working on a farm. And then I can finish filling in his hat and the rest of it, and then I can show you how to turn it into a pop-up. All right, here comes the super fun part, is taking my little scarecrow that I've drawn, very simple, nothing fancy, and turning him into a pop-up. So I'm actually gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna trim just, you know, any extra that I happen to have around my scarecrow. So for me, I drew my scarecrow pretty big. I just wanna get rid of this extra white space. And you don't have to cut right up against your scarecrow. You can kind of just go around it, get rid of any of that little extra white space just to, you know, make it so that he'll stand out a little more. against your cornfields. So I trimmed off my extras. I'm going to put those to the side so I can recycle them. So I've got my little scarecrow buddy here. I'm going to put him to the side. And my next step is to take my background. Now I already folded my background in half when I made it. So I'm going to fold it in half again. And on the back of my paper, I'm going to draw 2 lines in the middle to help me for my cutting lines. Now I'm going to draw them with a Sharpie. Now, here's my paper folded in half, and I'm going to draw 2 lines right here in the middle, right on the fold. This is where the paper is folded. So right on the fold, I'm going to make 2 little lines for myself. And with my scissors, I'm going to cut on those lines while my paper is folded in half. And so here comes the cool part. So when you unfold your paper, you're going to realize that you kind of have 2 little holes here. And you're going to take this part and you're going to pop it out. Now this is the tricky part. You're going to pop it out. And you're going to take that part that's folded in half and you're going to fold it the opposite way. So originally everything was folded like this. You're going to take this little part, push it out, and fold it the other way. All right, so you should have it pulled out like that. Don't pull too hard, you don't want to rip it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fold your paper in half while keeping this part forward, if you guys can see that. And when you fold your paper in half, you can put a little extra fold right here. So that little box that you cut, you're going to push forward. And then when you unfold it, it'll make kind of like a little seat. So you want to take this little bit and fold it the opposite way, and it creates like this little box seat. So you guys can see that. And this is going to be the part where your scarecrow will be for the pop out. And I'm going to take a little bit of glue. I found my glue stick. I'm going to take a little bit of glue and I'm going to put the glue not on the whole step. I'm going to put the glue on the bottom part of the step right here. Put some glue on that spot right there. It might smudge your crayon around a little bit, and that is totally okay. I'm going to put a little glue on my little box right there. So there's my little step with my glue on the front. I'm going to take my scarecrow. I'm going to do this right here so you can all see. Line my scarecrow up with that little box. Give it a little squeeze. Now remember, you're not gluing it to the top of the little seat. You got to make sure that you leave that part here. Because if you glue your scarecrow to the whole box, your scarecrow is just going to be flat. He's not even going to pop up. So you want to make sure that you only glue your scarecrow to the front of that little seat. And that way, your scarecrow will stand up against that part. And then when you close it, if your scarecrow is a little tall, he might actually peek out a little bit from your paper. But then when you open it, he will pop out. And this is just a fun little art trick, not just for a scarecrow project. Obviously, that's what we're doing for this project right now. But, you know, this is something that on your own for fun, you could see what kind of other things can you make pop up. So this is kind of a fun little art project and a fun little skill to know, so you can make some really cool pictures. You can use the pop-ups to make like birthday cards, all sorts of crazy things. So go ahead, if you need to rewind or pause the video at all, please do so. And you are going to make your scarecrow and then take a picture of it for me so that I can see it and give you a grade. And I can't wait to see your adorable little pop-up scarecrows. All right, have fun, be creative, and I will see you again next time. Bye.